Hey everybody, welcome back to Colony Drop, your favorite Gundam podcast. My name is Isaac.
And my name is Brian, and this is a podcast where we talk about anything and everything related to the Mobile Suit Gundam franchise. From the anime, to the music, to the movies, to the models, to the food, to the clothes, you name it, we do it all, Isaac.
That's right, Brian. And today we're talking about something very special, something that doesn't happen quite enough, and that is a upcoming series and also movie to the United States and North America.
That is right. So for those of you who haven't heard it, back in early December, Sunrise randomly just was like, hey, by the way, there's a new Mobile Suit Gundam TV show coming out, where they dropped a little trailer, and it's called Mobile Suit Gundam GQuuuuuux. It's spelled very oddly. I believe it's GQ and then 6 U's and then an X.
Wow.
That title took us by surprise. I remember, Isaac, we were like, what the hell is this? And so it's an upcoming TV series of some sort of length, Isaac. They haven't announced really anything about it. We don't even know when it's going to air, but given that the winter season has already started, it'll likely air in the spring sometime. But as you said, there will be a compilation film of the first 3 episodes called Mobile Suit Gundam GQuuuuuux Beginning, released in Japanese theaters January 17th, which as of this recording is yesterday. We were recording this on January 18th. And as you mentioned, it will be coming to U.S. theaters on February 28th, 2025. So that's kind of cool. That's pretty close to the Japanese release, Isaac.
Yeah, it definitely is. And this is great because, as you recall, Brian, last year, the only movies we've ever seen in theater for Gundam were the sort of compendium Gundam movies they made, yep. Parts 1, 2, and 3. And then also maybe a third of Gundam Seed Freedom.
Yeah, we didn't quite make it all the way through on that one, unfortunately.
So I'm excited. I hope a lot of fans are excited too, that this hopefully gets a sizable release in multiple theaters in the country, here in the U.S., and we can go out and support it. But yeah, this thing just was such a sleeper. Just, by the way, here's a new Gundam series. It really wasn't telegraphed to us. There wasn't really a large amount of sort of leaked footage or sketches, designs, things like that. It just sort of showed up.
Yeah, I think they announced it December 4th. And then January 17th, obviously yesterday, they released the first 3-episode compilation film. That's not a lot of time. I think it was basically done when they announced it. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, really under wraps, but I mean, I can see perhaps why, because settings-wise, this is a very unique storyline, it sounds like, from what we've gathered. Isn't that right, Brian?
That is correct. So before we talk about the storyline real quick, let's talk about some of the involvement on this show, because I think there's some misleading headlines out there, and I don't really like them. So,
no. Fake news.
If you just type in, like, GQuuuuuux, new Gundam show, most of the headlines say, new Gundam series from Neon Genesis Evangelion creator. And if you know anything about Evangelion, or if you've watched anime for a while, you know that is Hideaki Anno. He's a very famous person who's produced and created anime. Primarily, he's famous for Gunbuster and Evangelion. So all those headlines make it seem like he just got up one day and he's like, I'm going to make a Gundam show. And, you know, Hideaki Anno, based on his success, he's another person that you would put on the same tier as, like, Tomino-san. And what this really is a collaboration between Sunrise and Hideaki Anno's studio, which is called Studio Kara. He created Studio Kara in 2006. It's primarily known for creating the rebuild of Evangelion films. So that's the latest 4 Evangelion films that came out. But I feel like it should more accurately be framed as this is Gundam by the Evangelion and Fooly Cooly teams. This show is directed by Kazuya Tsurumaki. Wikipedia describes him as the protege of Hideaki Anno. He's a longtime animator at Gainax. Gainax being, of course, a studio that it was also co-created by Hideaki Anno, famous for making Evangelion, Gunbuster, Fooly Cooly, Gurren Lagann, those types of things. He was the assistant director on Evangelion. He directed Fooly Cooly, Gunbuster 2, and the rebuild of Evangelion films. The screenwriters are listed as Yoji Enokaido and Hideaki Anno. So Hideaki Anno himself is not listed as the director. He's really just listed as a screenwriter. The other screenwriter wrote on Sailor Moon, Evangelion, Fooly Cooly. He wrote the novelization of Fooly Cooly. So you can see that there's a lot of Fooly Cooly and Evangelion here from all angles, including the mecha designer. And the mecha designer actually got on X and clarified what Anno is doing. He said, GQuuuuuux is Kazuya Tsurumaki's project, that being the director. Tsurumaki decides everything. Anno-san might do something to cover for him, but that's it. However, Anno-san is the president of Kara, so he'll be shown the intermediate work. However, Tsurumaki will try not to show him until the very last minute so as not to be overturned and have to start from square one. So, I mean, he's obviously involved, Isaac, but I feel like a lot of people are just going around being like, oh, it's the Eva guy doing Gundam, and I feel like that's not exactly accurate, and it's, it takes a lot of people to make an anime, and it's Anno's like 64 now, so I don't know that he's super involved on the day-to-day doing everything under the hood.
It's clearly the successor of the Isekai.
Yeah, and like I would say, and based on what we know about the compilation film, it feels a lot more like Fooly Cooly to me than maybe Evangelion, but...
Yeah, I'm glad they actually course-corrected for us to talk about the actual people behind the show. Because visually, much like Fooly Cooly and Evangelion, I was watching the trailer, and yes, listeners, there's a trailer. Please go watch it. It's pretty interesting. I was watching the trailer, and just seeing the design choices they made in the animation, the characters, their eye proportions especially, I felt like I was back in the days of me starting to watch anime.
Oh, yeah.
It feels very much like an older approach to how characters used to be drawn, just updated with, cleaner lines now and, the use of computer animation. But yes, it's a very different animation style, I think, even than Witch from Mercury, which was maybe the closest style to this, or possibly Gundam AGE, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, sort of a more, how would I describe it? A rounded approach to character design.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you who the character designer is, and it's going to make sense. The character designer, I believe, has most recently worked on Pokemon.
Ah, of course.
So now if you think about that and you think about the rounded design, that kind of makes a little more sense, right?
Pokemon is a world of soft designs with no sharp corners, everything's round. Maybe a Beedrill here or there, but...
They even throw round objects at each other, Pokeballs.
Yeah,
so.
Soft and cuddly. Everyone's not really done in threatening shapes. Yeah, sure. Makes perfect sense.
And I say that as a lifelong Pokemon fan, by the way. Isaac knows I love Pokemon, so.
He does love it. I really only like the criminal organization, Team Rocket, but Brian loves all of Pokemon.
No one should be surprised that Isaac is a huge Giovanni fan, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we go any further, Isaac, I guess I'm going to give a spoiler warning, because we are going to talk about what we know of the compilation film, so.
Yeah, and this isn't like data we stole from the Sunrise servers.
No, it's out there.
This is, they released a lot of information about the actual story.
Yeah. So that not only did they release, the film, which is only really the first 3 episodes, so I don't even really feel like it's that spoilery to even talk about it, because it's not like it summarizes the whole show. It just summarizes the first 3 episodes. However... Sure. Based on that trailer that we originally watched, Isaac, right?
Yeah.
And then if you read the log line, this is the official summary from Gundam Info. Amate Yuzuriha is a high school student living peacefully in a space colony floating in outer space. When she meets a war refugee named Nyan, Amate is drawn to the illegal mobile suit dueling sport known as Clan Battle. Under the entry name Machu, she throws herself into fierce battle day after day, piloting the GQuuuuuux. Then an unidentified Gundam mobile suit pursued by both the Space Force and the police appears before her, along with its pilot, a boy named Shuji. Now their world is about to enter a new era. Now, Isaac, when I read that, I thought that this is an alternate universe, definitely has nothing to do with Universal Century. When I watched the trailer, I was like, people pointed out someone had some Xeon uniform thing on, and they saw maybe like a Zaku in one shot, but we've had Zakus in other shows, right? There was Zakus in Seed, there was Zakus in Turning Gundam,
absolutely,
etc.
Yeah.
But okay, here's where the spoilers come in, Isaac. So in reality, based on some leaks that were proven to be true after people went and watched the film yesterday, it is a full alternate Universal Century where Zeon wins the 1-year war, and our story starts in UC 085, but our story is essentially Fooly Cooly from then on.
Yeah. It's, wow. They beat us to the punch as far as Chrono Gundam goes, because they really changed the timeline, and they wisely did it not from, the beginning of the 1-year war, which was great. Right. They did it mostly around the Gundam itself.
That's right. So I'm going to recap the beginning film real quick here. I'm not going to go into super detail because you can go read it. I'm getting most of my recap from 2 people who posted on Reddit. There was Corin CZ11 and Cyberax on Reddit. There's a variety of threads, though. You can pick the one you like and read about it in much more detail. But if you think about the compilation film against the first 3 episodes, the first third is what's kind of weird, Isaac, is it's animated in the Origin style. And it's basically a retelling of the 1-year war, but Char steals the Gundam and takes it back to Zeon. There's no Amuro, no Bright. That first infiltration, he gets the Gundam and takes it back. And that having the Gundam, Zeon mobile suit development goes in a slightly different direction. They put a Psycommu in it. Char paints it red. He and Charlie Abul become best buddies. Zeon eventually captures Luna 2. Dozel mass produces the Big Zom and they win. I feel vindicated talking about the Big Zom all this time now, Isaac. And in a last-ditch effort to like stop Zeon from winning, Federation tries to drop Solomon on Luna 2, and Char tries to stop it, basically the same way Amuro did in Char's counterattack. But Char, kind of at the last moment, he encounters Sayla or Artesia in a gun cannon that's colored like the Gundam. The same new type resonance occurs with the Psycommu as it did in Char's counterattack, and Char disappears, Isaac, and Solomon is diverted, and Kycelia lives. And then we jump to 083 or 085, and our protagonist Machu gets caught up in this clan battle business while Shalia Bull continues to look for the missing Red Gundam and Char, which of course then finds Machu. She deals with the Red Gundam. And then basically lots of Fooly Cooly, homages and Fooly Cooly style trippy colors to portray new type space magic happen.
What should you call it in the show? The Sparkle, I think?
I don't know.
Like that?
But basically, It's like, it's an alternate 1 year war, and then 6 years later, Fooly Cooly.
Yeah, it's dramatic.
I am so confused, Isaac. I don't know what to think about this show.
I'm cautiously optimistic, and I say that because they're hitting a lot of my check marks, Brian. We've had a drought of female pilots, and guess what? They gave us a female pilot.
Right.
Unfortunately, I feel like she's a little too close to Suletta as far as character design. She's got bright eyes. She's a young girl. She's got red hair, and she's a Gundam pilot. It's like, well, we already went down this road, but you know what? Sure, we'll try it again.
It's interesting you say that it reminds you of Suletta. I mean, what about in personality, though? Because I think the two are very different in personality based on what we know about Machu. I feel like Machu feels more like a girl that appeals to boys, and Suletta feels like more like a girl that appeals to girls. Yeah,
you might be right. I really need to see the entirety of GQuuuuuux in order to fully grasp what she's going to be like. I imagine I'm hoping at least, there'll be personality changes as she goes through her arc. We'll find out. But yeah, so we have the female part checked off. We have Universal Century checked off. Alternate timeline checked off. It's got a lot going for it as far as I'm concerned. My biggest gripe, we'll get to later when we talk about mole suit designs. You can probably assume what it is. But but other than that, I think it's just such a really interesting setting that they've created.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I think everyone should be excited about is everyone should always be excited about more Gundam, generally.
Yeah.
And then I think you have to give it to them for trying new things. I don't think you want them to stay static, certainly. So I think you have to applaud them for trying new things and taking a bit of a risk, because this definitely seems very off the wall. And I'm going to use a new verb that I'm making tonight, Isaac, called G-quacky. It's kind of like a Gundam wacky, That's kind of how this series seems to me. It seems a little wacky. I don't know.
Yeah, it does. And perhaps for that reason, and also the timeline and issue itself, alternate universe this takes place in. Someone on Reddit commented that GQuuuuuux really is not made for the casual Gundam fan or somebody new to Gundam. You almost need at least some UC lore, I think, to fully appreciate what GQuuuuuux is.
Right.
And I think they're completely right. Even if there's exposition and a lot of scenes and background information for GQuuuuuux said by characters or some type of narration, you'll still be lost compared to somebody that's seen almost all of UC through like the UC 80 series,
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like the team behind this is kind of using, the first Gundam show. And
right.
It's not like this goes up through Zeta or anything after that. So as long as you've seen like first Gundam and know it pretty well, then you're going to get a lot of the references here. Like, I can't believe they brought back Shalia Bull and he's like a main character, Isaac. And he got like a real glow up too,
He got a haircut. He lost weight. He got a new uniform. The character design too. These Zeon uniforms, they look like nothing Zeon was wearing in the Universal Century that we know. So I guess once they were close to winning the war, or at least got in a better position, they issued new uniforms.
Yeah, I guess so. Does it seem weird to you that they must have been developing this at the same time as Witch from Mercury?
Not really.
They knowingly had two female protagonists up their sleeves at the same time?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of shows, right? Because something came down from a committee that was like, she's got to have red hair, she got to be a girl, and she got to have light eyes. And then they took those assignments, took them back to their different little, teams, and then from there they made various separate stories. It's smart though, right? Because Gundam's always existed in kind of two worlds, right? You got the diehard UC fans, and everybody wants a continuation or at least more side stories and stuff in that world. And then you've got the alternate series. They're just completely outside of that scope, and anything can happen once you're away from the UC. So that's what they did. They made Witch from Mercury, which I have mixed feelings about. And now they have GQuuuuuux, which I'm far more optimistic about. I'm excited to see what will happen.
Okay, so that's an interesting point. What exactly is the marketing position on this? Like, who is the target here? Is the target to get both new and old fans? Is that why the UC part is in here? Because, like, I kind of feel like that's overwhelming to a new fan.
I think it might be like, if I could just toss this out really easily, 75% diehard UC fans, because they're going to see, the Mono-Y, and they'll recognize the Xeon symbols and read the alternate history thing, and they'll be like, oh, this is alternate UC, this is going to be great. Or 25% could be new fans because of how different it looks. It's not technically previous UC, just the art style and the energy that it has. It's very new, for lack of a better word. So I don't think it's going to be that off-putting to too many people if they do sufficient backstory explanations that would get people invested into the story and understanding what's going on.
Got it. Okay. I'm very open to the show. I'm not sure that I'm excited about it. More, I'm just like curious.
Yeah.
I kind of feel the way I do about the current Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, where we're in like that multiverse phase, where like they're fun to watch.
Are they?
Well, they're fun to watch, but I also feel a little weird because it's like the multiverse stuff, but it doesn't strike the same chord as the old stuff. So I remain totally open.
No.
But I'm not sure that I'm super excited about it. I guess I'm more just confused.
Huh.
I'm not sure how I feel about this show.
I see. Despite my gripe with one of the mobile suit designs, I'm pretty excited to see alternate UC, because the UC well has kind of been both. They've drawn from it almost too much in a way, and also done too much in a way. We've covered so much time in the UC timeline. We know exactly what happens for Crossbone Vanguard and then Zanskar Empire and onwards. There's not a lot of road sort of left for them to do interesting things with, especially in the 1 year war or around that time period, other than side stories. So if you want to do something sort of on a bigger scale or with, a lot changed, you can't. You have to make an alternate series. So by going back and saying, well, what if we just had something change in the UC timeline? Now it's like, oh, now Xeon can be doing this differently. Now the Federation can be doing this differently. Now this differently happened in the past. And this other thing happened that's very different. This character is different. This character disappeared. Where's this character? Who knows? So there's a lot more open space now if you do things through a timeline change.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about the mecha then, because that's one of the biggest changes, I'll say, if I overlay this with the old UC. Now, you've got some things that stay the same. So you still got Brow Bro, the Big Zom. However, in this, the Brow Bro is renamed the Kikaroga, which is something that was going to be used in the original TV series and got scrapped and didn't get used. So they gave that name to this. But even the Zaku's changed design a little bit. The Gundams change. The gun cannons look different. I'll be honest, Isaac, I'm pretty lukewarm on the redesigns. A lot of them look a little too busy to me, a little over-designed. Reddit was also not very positive on them. I would say it was probably 70% negative, 30% positive. And a lot of the people who were positive were saying more like, I like these because they're weird. I didn't feel like anyone was liking them just straight out because they looked cool.
Yeah.
But I also don't think Reddit is representative of the general population, and I might just be too old. What are your thoughts?
So I have to divide Federation and Xeon. Looking at the Federation ones, I would describe them as very skeletal.
Yes. Yeah.
They're skin and bones, buddy. Not even like an Ava way. The Avas were kind of thin, too, very spindly, almost hunched back, too. But these are just sort of like malnourished mobile suits.
They remind me of very like Pacific Rim meets Michael Bay Transformers.
Something like that, yeah. They're definitely different than the UC we know. Somebody mentioned, I think on Reddit, that like, well, clearly, if you lose a Gundam, you have to base everything around the gun cannon. So this is the end result. And sure, kinda.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I mean, I'm very curious if they show us the original gun cannon in this universe, how different it looks, if it's very skeletal. Yeah. And if it is, okay, this makes sense. But I mean, I think they're interesting. I've never been into the Federation suits normally, but I'm all for it, seeing these new Federation suits in action. Now for the Zaku's and the Xeon suits that we've seen so far, oh boy, Brian. They're fine from the thighs up, but like kneecap down. My God, what did they do? They capture the Gundam, and they're like, oh, look, this thing's legs are so thin. We need thin legs too. So they got kind of like thin legs, but then they put just the biggest, roundest kneecaps. Like, did they do research and they determined like a disproportionate number of Zakus were taken out by like kneecap blows or something? Because these kneecap armor plating that they have, it's grotesque.
Yeah, they really buffed the thighs, and then they nerfed the legs, and it results in this weird silhouette. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to my eyes, but that could just be because I've been looking at the quote normal Gundam designs too long. That's why I was wondering, like, who is this for?
Yeah. Okay, it's for multiple people, really. So we got new designs for a new audience that also feature a lot of elements from the previous UC mobile suits that we all know and love. It's got a female protagonist for people that would exclusively be interested in watching a female lead. It's got the Universal Sentry to call back UC fans, and then it's got an alternate angle to it where events changed so that it'd be welcoming to anybody that didn't want to, slog through the 40 years of lore. 50 years now of the Universal Century. There's a lot going on here for different people. Will it work? We'll find out, but I'm cautiously optimistic. But man, those mobile suit designs for the Xeon, I'm surprised that they went that route when they grabbed a Gundam and they're like, oh, thin legs is the way to go.
Skinny it up, boys.
Yeah.
Although on the Xeon side, you have to admit the Big Zom still looks great. Just never looked better.
Yeah, Dozel clearly put his finger down and said, look, we're going to win this war, or at least get the Federation running in space. I want more Zoms, and we're not changing anything about the design.
Over my dead body, do you touch my Big Zom? Yeah.
I guess Garen was like, all right.
The Pegasus class redesign looks pretty good, too. I thought that looked very nice.
Yeah, did you read about it a bit more?
Yeah, the Xeon gets their own Pegasus class. I wasn't clear if they take the white base or if they just make their... Is that the actual white base, the Sodan?
That is the white base. Yeah. The white base was stolen, renamed. I like that there was just too much white, so they mostly kept the white, and they're like, well, we are Xeon, so we need to like add in green trim. So they added in like green trim and go fast stripes.
Yeah. It's like when people paint their miniatures and they use a wash. Like Xeon used like a green wash and it brought out all the details with green.
Yeah, just put it on the edges. It'll look nice. But from what I read, I don't know if this is accurate or not, the bridge was destroyed by Char during his operation. And replacement, they installed a more Xeon-style bridge.
There you go.
So I wonder if that means it'll be from the Xeon bridges that I remember. Only the captain really gets a chair. Everybody else like stands in those kiosks. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Heaven help them if they have to do a barrel roll or something.
Oh yeah, I do not want to stand all day.
Look, Xeon doesn't have the budget for seatbelts. Okay, like.
Oh yeah, like when what's her name? Nina. Nina was on the bridge of that Neo Xeon ship, and they just made her sit on the floor. Oh my god.
So 2 other things that concern me about the Mecha Isaac. One, I forgot who it was. I didn't write it down. Apologies to this person on Reddit. I think I've mentioned this on the podcast several times. Some things about Witch from Mercury and Seed. Certain designs, I don't really like the line art, but then when I see it in motion, I think it looks better. And I think that's true for the Freedom, basically all iterations of the Freedom Gundam, Freedom, Strike Freedom, etc. I think that was true of a lot of the Witch from Mercury designs. I think it looked better in the show than if you just look at the line art. However, there was one guy on Reddit, it might have been one of the guys that I mentioned. He said, I thought I would like the Gundam more in motion, but I still think it looks terrible after seeing it, after seeing the whole film. And I was like, ooh, that's kind of not a good sign. Because, Isaac, if you're Sunrise, when you lay eyes on that Gundam, you want the consumer to be like, I want to buy a model.
Yeah.
So when you laid eyes on the Gundam or the Zaku, did you want to buy a model?
Well, in Sunrise's defense, I don't normally buy Gundam.
Well, no, but that's why I said Zaku, right?
But yeah, in Sunrise's offense, I did not want those Zakus once I saw their knees. I was like, oh, cool, new Zakus. Oh, wait, what is that? What did you do?
Right. Because even Witch from Mercury, I could be like, oh, okay, like I could see people wanting to build that, buy that. I own several seed kits. It's not maybe the main Gundams of the show,
Sure.
But these ones, I looked at all the designs. I was like, oh man, I don't know. Like, give me a big Zom. But like, I wanted the big Zom before. Like that design didn't change. But if I look at Char's the Red Gundam, the new Gundam, even the GQuuuuux, I don't know. I don't. It's not something that I would want to buy.
Yeah, I'm hoping as you watch the series, there are mobile suits that appear that you would want to buy. And if they're not, oh boy. Because every cell of this anime is designed to sell plastic that can be turned into a model.
Now, I believe they did release a few like limited models as part of the film release yesterday in Japan. And I'm pretty sure they sold out at all the screenings. But that's kind of to be expected. I don't know how much that translates to the wider modeler base, but
sure.
We'll see. So I'd be very curious, listeners, what your thoughts are on the mecha. Maybe they're trying to capture people who don't normally buy models with these. I don't know. So just very curious on how you all are coming down on these designs, because they're not. That's how I'm feeling old, Isaac. Like if I look at all the most recent series, I haven't loved all the mecha all that much. Like Witch from Mercury, I really liked some designs, but not a lot of them. Seed Freedom, Iron-Blooded Orphans, some I like a lot, some not so much. Some of them, Iron-Blooded Orphans, pretty ugly. So I feel like I'm losing touch, I'm the old man yelling at the clouds.
Brian, have we reached peak model design? Is that what you're saying? We're past peak mobile suit design. Everything now, it's all downhill from here. They're all worse designs.
Well, I don't know. I think there's just a certain aesthetic, and maybe I just don't like some of the new aesthetics where things are headed. It could just be that.
Yeah.
It's like the people who you talk to, and they're like, you'll see people talk about the Michael Bay Transformers movies, and they'll be like, I really love these designs. And I'm just like, how could you love that? Like the original Optimus Prime is just better in every way. But we just like different things, you know what I mean?
Yeah, generational almost, you mean, right? Like your nostalgia will always be your nostalgia. It's locked in a safe deposit box, really.
Right.
Now, someone else, 15 years later, watching new content, we can use Star Wars for an example. Their trilogy is the prequels. Their trilogy is the sequels, depending on age. So, same thing really here. I wonder if this is going to be, well, it has to be for some people. This has to be the anime that they first see and enjoy, or the first mecha anime they see and enjoy, and for the rest of their lives, from here on out, however old they are right now, 12, 15, who knows, maybe even older. GQuuuuux will be their go-to. They'll be in a GQuuuuux shirt at the Anime Expo. They'll be wearing a GQuuuuux hat. They're going to get all the models than GQuuuuux. And they have every right to. This might be their version of Xeon that's peak for them.
Sure, yeah.
Or their version of the Federation that's peak for them. They might think Amuro's, a bad character compared to...
They are wrong.
Compared to some of the characters
Some things in
here.
life are objective.
So I wouldn't say we're aging out of Gundam, but I have to kind of agree with you a lot of ways. I have yet to see a suit in this series that would make me want to buy a model yet.
Right.
We'll see how the DOMs look. My God,
I don't
can't
think there
even
are any
imagine
DOMs, Isaac.
Not yet.
Well, no, I think the lore is that they had Zaku's.
Oh, they didn't need to.
Yeah, they got the Gundam,
you're right.
and they just. That's it.
Yeah,
they no longer needed the there's no DOMs, no Gelgoogs.
Brian, I need you to call me an ambulance. My chest is getting so tight. My heart.
Do you need to sit down? Careful, Isaac.
I am sitting down. The walls are spinning. Oh my God! I see a bright light.
So yeah, I'm not trying to sound negative. I find it very interesting. And then the last thing I want to point out about the mecha, Isaac, is if I look at the Gundams and the Federation side, that really reminds me of kind of what we saw in Requiem for Vengeance, but it like turned up even more. And then I look at the Xeon side and I see what they did there. And then I look at the GQuuuuux and I feel like that doesn't fit in either category. The GQuuuuux looks very unique to me.
Yeah, almost, well, not even Evangelion. I almost feel like it's very Witch from Mercury.
I feel like it's a mix between Witch from Mercury, Evangelion, and do you remember the old show Razafon?
Oh my God.
Does it look a little Razafon-y? I think it does.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, listeners, Razafon is a bit obscure.
Yeah, I don't think anyone talks about Razafon anymore, but...
No, Razafon was, for the uninitiated, for the uninformed, Razafon was maybe the most blatant attempt at copying Evangelion.
It definitely had a bit of a Evangelion vibe, when it came out.
It was very much that meme of like, copy my homework, but like, make sure it doesn't look like, exactly the same. Man, everything Evangelion did right and did well, Razafon did worse and poorly.
Razafon, not a lot happened in that show. I'll leave it at that, yeah.
kind of recommend people watch Razafon.
I don't.
Just to mess with them. Just if there's somebody you don't like, tell them to watch Razafon.
They'll just be waiting. 26 episodes of waiting for something to happen.
They'll track you down later and be like, why did you tell me to watch that?
I'm going to get a lot of hate now from the Razafon fans and be like, that's the greatest show of 2002 or whenever that thing came out.
The one fan still around.
But you see what I'm saying? I feel like it doesn't fit into either the Fed or Xeon category. So I'm kind of confused now, like who made it, what is it, etc.
Well, I think they did talk about this a little, right? So it's half clan battle, half war combat mobile suit, half civilian kind of junk style design.
Yeah.
Because I'm guessing she's going to put like her little junkyard twist on it or something.
Yeah.
Which seems to be like a thing now.
I mean, I don't know. Based on how the plot's going, I feel like it's going to have a guitar as a weapon, and it's just going to be...
Oh, my God.
I kind of feel like it's a Fooly Cooly reboot in disguise.
I wouldn't be surprised. Are they going to use a sound weapon, like a beam guitar?
There you go.
She's got to strum it to, like, fire.
Yeah. By the way, Isaac, I don't have the post that I sent you, but someone on Reddit had a great theory. He might have been reposting something else that he saw on Twitter. I think he actually did, so I don't remember who posted on Twitter. But my favorite theory was that Machi was really Haman Khan.
Wow. Yeah, I remember that.
Because what they say, like, they released it on her birthday, so, like, January 17th, I think, is her birthday. Her pilot suit is the same color as the Quibbly, pinkish, reddish hair. She's, like, the right age, I think, that Haman would have been in 0085.
The colors.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see that.
Wait, so is she, like, Haman was, like, separated from her family?
I don't know. I mean, it's a Haman variant.
Alternate Haman.
Yeah, alternate
okay,
Haman. I don't know.
Variant. I see. Haman variant. Haman variant from a neutral colony.
Right, yeah.
Sure, okay.
I kind of like that's probably not going to happen, but I like that thinking.
God, now that I think about it, it says UC 085. Like, mobile suit development has been that stagnant that they're still using Zaku's. Like, they think they've reached peak mobile suit technology. Like, oh, the Zaku's good enough. You know, the Federation got slapped around. We really don't need much else. We got big zombs running around. What else do we need?
From the limited we see, it just doesn't seem like there's been that many conflicts since the 1 Year War. So yeah, maybe they haven't had to.
Yeah.
I don't know. So Isaac, one thing that we did for Witch, which I think would be fun to do here, is some predictions. Because I think we got most things wrong with Witch, so it'd be fun to see what we get wrong with this show, because I guarantee we're not going to get anything right. But
no.
So one is Machu really Haman? I think that'd be fun. And then two people who are notably absent in the beginning compilation film, which I feel like they are ripe for an appearance later on, is Amuro and Bright. Neither of them show up at all. They don't seem to figure into the 1 Year War. Amuro's not even mentioned. So do you think perhaps that he will come in as a maybe sort of like mentor figure or late game ally? Or maybe they'll just leave him out entirely?
I really hope we see Amuro. Bright, I'm not trying to be, the Xeon guy here or pessimistic or anything.
You're just upset. He defeats you at every turn.
No, I'm trying to actually sound realistic, but Bright might be dead. Because as you recall, he was there when the Gundam jacking happened.
That's true, yeah.
Good point. If the Gundam jacking was successful, they not only took the Gundam, but got away with the white base. Every Federation officer or soldier in that colony is likely dead.
Yeah, that's true.
So Bright, despite being a promising young officer, he might have been shot dead by Xeon troops.
Rest in peace.
Essentially on his first deployment.
Have you seen those memes where everyone blames the one guy on Char's team for the way the 1 Year War went, Gene? Because remember, he's the one that attacked too early, because Char didn't actually want him to attack, remember? He wanted to just see what was there and go in later. So everyone's blaming him, be like, see, Gene, all you had to do was let Char go in later and everything would have been fine.
I think Gene lives in this timeline.
Does he? Maybe, I don't know. I think it was Gene. There was two guys, right? I forget their names. Gene, I know Dren was there at some point, but he might not have been the guy in the infiltration.
No, Dren stayed on the ship.
Yeah, was it Gene and Slender, maybe?
I don't remember, but I think I remember mentioning that Gene, he does something right or something better in this timeline.
Doesn't shoot, probably.
Yeah, or I don't know. His shoot makes contact. I don't know, but we'll see.
Oh, maybe that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, my point is the whole Universal Century hinged on that guy.
Is that what it deviates?
I mean, that's the first thing, right?
I want to see it. I want to see the opening montage. And it shows exactly how they took the colony and the Gundam.
February 28th. Isaac and I are going to go see it.
There's got to be flashbacks. There has to be. Otherwise, we're going to be splitting hairs over how could this possibly happen?
So then, Isaac, this is my craziest theory, okay?
Oh, no.
So currently, from what we know of the show, Char has disappeared. He's gone. He was, one person said that he was swallowed by a black hole. some sort of portal
What?
he went through during the Saikamu, resonance event.
That's terrible.
What if Char ends up somewhere else in another timeline or another show? Like, what if the next show is
Wow.
Char in a super robot show like Gunbuster or Gurren Lagann? Like, what if this whole thing is an excuse to get Char as the protagonist in a different genre of robot show that it would be animated by these guys?
I mean,
I know super robots are not your thing, but Gurren Lagann is one of my favorite shows. Great show. What if you had Char as the protagonist of a super robot show, and it's the Char from this show that disappeared? Like, that would be a hilarious explanation.
that'd be pretty great. But at the same time, like, he has to be... Oh, God. Can you imagine if he doesn't make an appearance?
Oh, he'll come back for sure. There's no way.
Yeah. I don't know what context, but...
Right.
Wait, the black hole thing, though, getting back to that. Was this like a Reddit post?
Yeah, one of the guys just said it looked like a black hole swallowed up Char and like half of Solomon, and like that's how the situation
Wow.
helped resolve itself. So
God.
it's a lot more like definitive, than Char's counterattack, where Axis just kind of moves away, right? It's not like it didn't cleave Axis in half or anything, or there was no black holes involved. It just kind of drifted away.
Well, I'm glad they actually show a black hole, I imagine, because I was assuming the sparkle showed up, and then just a couple of pilots were gone.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why everybody blinked at the same time, but like they just disappeared into sparkles.
Yeah, I mean, now, again, I guess we could be getting a lot of these details wrong. We're going strictly by
Yeah.
summaries that people posted. We literally can't watch the show yet, and neither can you probably if you're listening to this, unless you live in Japan, speak English, and somehow, for some reason, listen to our podcast. So if you do, tell us in detail what we got wrong.
Man, a black hole opening. This has horrifying.
Well, I don't think it's an
implications,
actual
Brian.
black hole. I think the guy was just saying
Oh.
like it's like something opened up and swallowed some stuff, and Char and the Red Gundam were part of it. Although the Red Gundam comes back in the later parts, so clearly Char must be somewhere, I guess.
That's still horrifying. We reached a point with new type abilities, and I guess collective old type abilities, human spirit, psyche abilities, whatever you want to do, Esper,
Ooh, Esper.
you choose, where they're able to collectively in crisis open up wormholes or black holes that can swallow entire asteroids. My God in heaven, this is more powerful than any colony laser.
Wait till you see Fooly Cooly version of Benager. He's gonna go nuts.
Hopefully. Although Benager's not alive? Wait.
Not yet. But
No, he
soon.
would be alive.
Yeah.
If he is alive, he's very young.
Yeah, he's gonna need a few more years to cook.
Yeah. Benager. He just... No. Who knows what the Viz Foundation's up to right now? Or even the other factions. Oh, wow. We might see other factions. Wow.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like, is Anaheim a thing in this universe? I don't really know. Like maybe they weren't. I mean, with no Federation, I don't know that Xeon really needed them.
Well, I think the Federation's still around, just in a weakened state.
Yeah, but they're not dominant.
No. It looks closer to more even. You think we'll see, like, well, this might be going too far out. Well, maybe not. Proto Crossbow Vanguard? Will we see Bunch Concern? Or, I'm sorry, Book.
The books. I don't know. That might be too far out. I also feel like
Yeah.
I feel like they're sticking to the factions that were there in First Gundam.
Yeah. You don't want to do too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you lure people in with the First Gundam, and then I think for the most part it's going to be pretty original.
You think Dagwood's around, or he had one too many eclairs?
I wasn't clear which of the zombies died and
Yeah.
which didn't. It sounded like Dozel died, but Cecilia survived. I don't know about Giran and Dagwin, unless you saw some spoilers about that.
From what I read, Garma is still alive.
Oh, there you go.
He did leave the front line, though. Some type of personal embarrassing issue. I don't know what that could be.
No. Oh, my. Maybe he had a bad hair day.
Yeah. So people revealed it was a wig.
Oh, boy, the embarrassment, the shame.
Yeah. The blowback.
Oh,
Can't
boy.
show his face in public.
Any predictions from you, Isaac?
Well, stating the obvious, we're going to see Amuro. I think we're going to get a lot of, maybe not a lot, but a good amount of cameos of characters we recognize.
Yeah.
I really hope they just show us characters not only from the original series, but outside of it. Be great to definitely see Gato. For all we know, there might be an Alfred. We know Cameron Bloom is showing up. Yes, Cameron Bloom, who was, as you remember, sort of engaged to Mirai, but things didn't really work out in his favor. But Cameron was a great guy, man. He kind of saved the entire sphere, if you think about it.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
It's like one phone call. I I predict super weapons.
Oh, definitely gonna have a super weapon, right?
I imagine it'll have more of a new type angle to it, just because of it sounds like they shoved Psychomus and everything.
Yeah, much earlier. And do you think that's just because the Fooly Cooly team is like, yeah, I need a lot of colors. Like, we're going to use Psychomu as our color generator in this show.
I wouldn't be surprised, especially like with her calling the new type Flash the Sparkle, I think is what she calls it. Yeah, we're going to get colors galore. If you thought the seed nut cracking was a bit repetitive and much, get ready for like Kaleidoscope. You know what? I don't think we'll have a princess. This does not seem like a princess setting.
Unless Machu turns out to be Haman, then she already is the princess, kind of.
So what, they're going to shove her into like a ballroom dance situation?
Oh, I don't know.
The Gundam trope.
Should be the anti-princess. Yeah.
Yeah, she looks too punk, too alternative for that. She put like a beanie on her haro. She's not going to be our typical princess.
She looks, if you told me that the Fooly Cooly people designed a Gundam protagonist, she looks exactly what I would have pictured. Like, it's on point.
Yeah. She's very colorful, to say the least.
Yeah, so there you have it, listeners. Anything else, Isaac? This show confuses me. I'm not sure how to feel. I have no idea what it's going to be about. I'm dumbfounded.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic, and I just can't wait to sit in the back of the theater with Brian eating chicken parm sandwiches.
Oh, God.
As halfway through the movie, the power goes out.
We're going to find a different theater, Isaac.
I don't care how far I have to drive. I want to go to the same theater, Brian.
I will point out this to you, listeners, if you're thinking about going. If I think about the showings that we had last year for Freedom and for the compilation films, none of them were on a day that normally you would go to the theater. They were all on like Tuesdays or Wednesdays, right? But this is coming out on a Friday, so it's an actual like real day that you would normally be able to go watch it. So you all should go watch it, because if you go watch it, we might get more Gundam in theaters. So yeah, let's do it, huh? Come on.
Please go support Gundam. I mean, this show could be amazing. The movie could be amazing for all you know.
Yeah.
Go see it. It's awesome. Big screen anime. Never happens.
So, listeners, let us know your thoughts on, if you've read the spoilers on the beginning compilation film. Let us know your thoughts on what has transpired so far, especially on the mecha. I think Isaac and I are really interested to hear what people think about the mecha. And let us know if we are the old men yelling at clouds. So...
We're not wrong, Brian. The children are wrong.
The children. It's not me who's wrong. It's the children.
The kneecaps. The kneecaps are too big.
Ironically, that reference is also really old, and young people probably won't get that reference either. So
no one under the age of 20 now watches The Simpsons.
I believe it still does really well somehow. So if someone out there is watching it.
No one under the age of 30 watches The Simpsons.
So it goes.
Here we are.
Anything else, Isaac? Otherwise, take us away.
Should the Federation be the one that takes us away today? Have you? In honor of their defeat, they're the ones that lost.
Oh, man.
Can you drum it up?
I got to dig it up, yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. No, I got it. Hold on.
Everyone salute and stand for the Federation flag.
All right.
Put your hand over your heart.
Here it comes. I haven't done this in like 2 years, Isaac.
Yeah, I bet.
Here we go. All right, everybody. Don't forget, before you go to sleep tonight, stand next to your bed. Salute that framed picture of Amuro Ray, the greatest of all time, who apparently isn't even in GQuuuuuux, and recite our Federation pledge. Into the night, Captain Bright, Lundo Bell, Xeon Fell, Liberty and Justice, Amuro trust us. You said your farewell, now we'll give him hell.
Wow. That was great. Good night, everybody.